What's crazy about coming to an event like this is that you meet people that are building companies using quantum computers. So like here at Cubits 2025, there's this guy, he comes up to me, his name's Eric, and he's saying, I have this company that has sensors that go onto satellites, and he's looking to see if he can use quantum tech, the cloud service, to see all of the different variables in space weather, basically, to track all those variables at once in real time, and that it's too expensive on GPUs.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see the mix of the crowd that this conference has drawn, because we've seen heavy hitter investors here. We've seen CEOs, lots of CEOs from other companies here. We've seen computer scientists. It's a real mix.
Computer scientists, companies in all industries, there's space, but mostly just any big problem. What about, who have you talked to? What different companies have you seen here?
I talked to a guy today. He said, "Yeah, I feel I feel a lot better about my investment in D-Wave after today, because I have 100,000 shares." I said, "Okay." Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty not this guy. It was a different guy. So I really have just noticed that the community, like, I've never felt more comfortable at a conference than at this D-Wave conference. I've been to Adobe conferences a number of times. I've been to other professional conferences, and there's just like a sense of community and welcoming.
Yeah.
Here, I don't know if you've felt that as well.
Yeah, totally. There's two things really. The first thing is, a lot of the people that are here are already investing in D-Wave, but not only are they investing in it, they also want to use the tech. That's really cool. Like that, I could be one of those people. This guy, Eric, that has the space company, was also saying that he wants to, or he invests, he has stocks, right?
Yep.
And the second piece is like, if you go to the quantum track at CES, then there's like a million other events, and then you go to the quantum track.
Right.
When you go to like GTC and you go to the quantum event of GTC, there's a million other events, and then you go to the quantum. But here, you get here, it is the event.
It's the pure play conference. It's the quantum pure play conference.
And then you get in, and they got breakfast for your track. They got dinner or everything else.
I mean, everything's just been immaculate. From the, I mean, the snacks they've served, the audio has been great. The Phoenician is a beautiful resort. I mean, we came out here, we're having a drink on the patio because it's about sunset, and you know, you got to live a little bit. We promised we'd touch grass today, and we're not. I see some turf down there, like a putting green. I don't know if that.
Well, that's the other thing, is it looks like turf, but I don't know. It might be really nice grass, because there was some earlier where I saw it and it looked like turf, and it was actually really nice grass. So it happens too. Okay.
But okay. So has that been your impression? Because my impression has been, wow, they pulled this off. And like, this is my first Cubits conference. I know they've had them before,
Right.
but even the smaller details of the choices they made all make a big difference, because you're representing your company, right? Everything seemed well rehearsed. The keynotes were, everyone was well spoken. It was very organized, methodical, and densely packed with information. So I'm curious, what has been your favorite part of the conference so far?
Yeah, favorite part, man. I think like just the use cases. I would like to see the use cases. That's been really helpful when you go to any quantum or any event, right? You want to see why are you there? Usually it's you want more details, or you have a problem with your thinking about the company, of like, I don't quite see this, I'm curious. And that they've answered some questions there. But when it comes to like the movement into AI or movement into quantum and just getting a bigger picture look, it's been great. I think the value in going to these conferences, the people you meet, the information you get. What information has been groundbreaking at this conference? That's a good question. I don't know that they've made any big announcements here yet. Right? I don't think that there's been anything that would surge their stock up in a short amount of time. And
yeah. Yeah. How are you? We're good. We can cut this. We can cut this. We're talking about the conference. We're saying right now how amazing this conference is.
What company are you with?
D-Wave.
D-Wave? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
So
What would you say is the number one thing that most people have a misconception about D-Wave, that if they just realize that about the company, it might give them a more optimistic view about the future?
well, the point that we're able to solve problems now, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're able to execute, we're able to do optimization currently in its form. So, we're here. But yeah, I think that's definitely as a business development guy, that's my focus. Right?
Yeah. Like we've been getting a lot of traffic of people that are interested in quantum. Like everybody isn't getting the full coverage. That's why your channel's growing fast. That's why our videos are doing well.
Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm like a 3 post a day kind of person.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right. See you, Thomas.
Hello.
We were like recording.
We kind of got into that. He came out and waved at us, and then, but we were like halfway. Into
We
it,
were
yeah.
just kind of talking on
Yeah.
camera, and
Yeah.
then he came out from the company. And it was funny, Tammy, when we were talking, that balcony right there was the CEO of the company was right there.
Yeah.
So
we
funny.
told him to come down.
Yeah, we're like, come on. Yeah, I think the three things that companies should focus on, and I see that with D-Wave, even though they didn't necessarily say this, was customer first, then the product, and then look at competitors. Competitors are kind of last. And I think they operate customer slash business deal first. Their product, obviously, they have a lot of focus on it. They have a lot of development. And then the competitor side of things is that they don't have a lot of attention to competitors as far, like you can tell, they're like, we're doing something different and we're going to focus on that. And I think that's an advantage that they have if they follow that framework. And it seems like that's exactly how they're operating. So if they continue to operate that way, have consistent energy like this, then they could be a good company here in the near future. I want to watch the balance sheet, but
So this begs the question. I was talking to the D-Wave PR lady. I'm forgetting her name. I think her name was Holly. For a little while today, and just the fact that they have a person for their PR is very good. It's a very good thing for a publicly traded company because PR is very important. I do wonder, this leaves me wondering if we looked at companies like IonQ or Rigetti, do they have
that attention
to detail or that investment in their perception?
Yeah.
The optics.
I'd say no. I would say IonQ does better at that than Rigetti, because Rigetti has a lot of focus. They're getting people from Berkeley. They're always working right on the tech. They're very tech focused. You hear them talk more technical in their conferences, like the CEO's talking very technical, whereas when Alan talks, it's much more, I would say, customer facing, more value proposition based. Whereas when you have Rigetti CEO talk, it's much more technical. And I think
very much, and I've noticed that.
Yeah.
And while I appreciate the dedication to the science, there also is the business, right? The business need,
and I think that's where D-Wave has an advantage with that.
And I had some interesting conversations today at the conference about how sometimes these companies do change CEOs. CEOs may to have more business acumen to help drive the company in a business driven way. So I wonder, does this conference change your perception of the quantum pure plays out there? Do you see, like, I don't know if Rigetti has a conference every year. I don't think they do. I don't think
know.
IonQ does.
They go to CES though.
So they have a presence.
They go to like other conferences, but their own sole company conference. How many of the people watching this video, if they're interested in quantum, have actually been to a conference? I'd say probably not that many. But how important would it be? How much more business do you get as a company when you have a conference, probably a lot more. And I think if that's one way that they're excelling as well, we talk about it time and time again. If they started getting momentum, then they have, how could we get more customers? So they're like, let's have a conference. Okay, let's make this conference like really, really cool. Let's like pull all stops to make it great for the investor and the customer. Then the payoff is going to be huge. And I think some other quantum companies should take notes. They're kind of taking like the NVIDIA approach, where it's like, oh, this is really cool. Look at all the tech. Look at all this.
Right.
And yeah, at the end of the day, it's going to pay off if they do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it really is. I talk about this a lot, but it's the gap. We got to fill that gap with the quantum computer companies, and that gap is communication, right?
Yeah.
What is a quantum computer? Why does it matter to me? And why should I care?
Not
Right.
even so much what, but like not what it does, how it does it, or maybe even not like the individual like components of why, but the overall why. Why would he want to use it? And that's the question you've been answering, and we've been answering time and time again here,
Right.
which is, if you're solving a big problem, you can solve that problem faster and more efficiently with the use of quantum as opposed to solely GPUs.
And verbatim, that's what Alan said on stage today. He said, we will solve your hardest problems. Give us your hardest problems and give us a chance to solve them. So that's a great business proposition. If other businesses in the world can start looking at their data sets and their problems, and I think that's the charge for D-Wave especially, is to convey how they would add value to the business, right? That they need to have boots on the ground per se, and be talking to these companies and saying, well, you're doing it this way, but did you know that you could do it this way and it would be so much more efficient and save you so much money?
Right.
And this is how as D-Wave matures and gets better and better at that, I could definitely see them developing more partnerships.
Yeah, more partnerships. And when you look at D-Wave from the eyes of the CEO, it's cool to always look at the companies from the eyes of the CEO or the perspective. It's like when you look at Bitcoin, for example, like if you're looking at Bitcoin, not necessarily that CEO, but Michael Saylor, for example, which you could call him the CEO. No, but when you look at Michael Saylor, for example, and he shares his perspective, it literally changes how people look at it, not only using, but investing in Bitcoin, right? And when Alan speaks, I think everybody could see it's a different. I literally remember watching the stock charts at GTC, and whenever Alan would speak, the stock would go up.
And that's because, and I hate to say this and be but that's because Alan was the only one that knew how to speak to an audience that large.
Communication.
Communication and I just think it's so important also for these core drivers, these core concepts of what does it mean to add value. You talked about serve. What does it mean to add value? Because at the end of the day, everything in this world is an exchange of value, right? Even as we're talking here and we're recording this content, what we're trying to do is provide value for the investors so they can better understand these companies and where things are. But one of the best things that any company can do is their CEO talk to the camera
And have clarity for
and have a clear vision and tell investors and tell the company, lead the company through thick and thin. That's what you need. You need strong leadership. And you see like a company like Big Bear AI, and you never hear from any of them. But I still love Big Bear AI. But I would love if their CEO went on camera and talked once in a while and just said, hey, this is what we're working on and what we're excited about.
And also, even seeing past and looking past the struggle, like there is, you have to, you can't expect the CEO to act any other way than to back up their company and say, no, we're actually providing value right now with quantum, because there's no, if you're not speaking that way, well, whatever it is that you speak is going to be the truth most likely for your company. So if he stays in that word selection of no, it's happening right now, no, it is very much alive and being used right now, and Jensen's like, it's not. Well, now it doesn't just totally change the narrative of the company or the perception of the company, because you have somebody that's speaking the words. And so I think that they realized more of the power of the word, this company.
Yeah, and really, D-Wave has had. If you look at it, D-Wave has had a challenging couple months from a PR perspective, because we know that the initial comments from Jensen really had a negative sentiment impact on investors. When we saw that the sell off and the crash and the quantum crash, just the classic overreaction and panic and fear, of the investor, and then
There's a market cycle.
and the market cycle, the bubble had to burst. But then from an optics standpoint, right, D-Wave, I think in a very classy way, has kept the conversation on track. I don't think they've gone below the belt. I don't think they've done anything wrong. They've just said, this is what we're doing. It's here, whether you like it or not. It's here. Right. Sorry, not sorry type of thing.
Yeah, and I think that was even what he said. Pretty sure he said that at
I think
GTC.
he said, I mean, I don't know if you.
I think he said sorry,
Yeah.
Which also he probably
stage.
meant. He
Yeah.
probably actually meant that
Yeah.
too. And so when we're looking at the belief, there's a feeling in this company that they're planting some seeds that are going to return plentifully here in the future. And I think that if they just progressively continue to focus on some of the avenues that they were, like machine learning, pursuing being able to add in different variables and expand the big types of problems they're solving, then just progressively working towards that is going to ensure that they're already starting to see some success. And if it's not money, if it's not investors, if it's not even partnerships, it's attention, and it's the communication of the vision that's driving them right now.
I couldn't agree more. Just very impressed. That's how I feel at this moment in time, and we still have a whole other day of conference left. There's still a dinner, and it's been a ride. I'm glad. I'm happy for D-Wave that they're able to put something together like this and really tell their story.
Mm-hmm. I would say one of the things that would add a lot of momentum for one quantum company is that the other companies start to ride suit and pursue marketing and getting their message out there just as much. And so, for example, like D-Wave, when they have their conference here, they're getting the word out. When you see them release a new article, it's going everywhere. With Rigetti, I'm seeing too much technical. It would be great to see more of a simple, even if it means they have to have somebody that has a sales background that can like articulate in a simple way.
Preach.
And same thing with IonQ. Same exact deal, rather than maybe even saying we're doing it now or we are doing it right now. Just speak the word of where it is that you're going.
We're doing it for free. We're doing it pro bono.
We're doing it for free.
We're doing it
minus AdSense.
out of the goodness of our hearts because it's fun. But it is, and it's just an interesting topic. Like I tell family and friends, like, oh, I'm going to a quantum computer conference. And it really is like a niche within a niche.
It is a niche.
And you talk about marketing, right? And the importance of marketing. And the first company I think of is Tesla. And Tesla notoriously didn't have a marketing department because they relied entirely on word of mouth. And how's that been working out for them?
I mean, when you look at the whole model of how all of Elon's companies approach any new project, is they pre-sell.
Right.
I'm wondering if D-Wave, like, because we obviously see firsthand the marketing and sales and stuff of D-Wave, but I'm wondering if they do share their actual sales process of acquiring new customers, or are they pre-selling? For example, like, you can get access to this new thing, like the machine learning side of things. If we're doing this over here, you can get the first access as soon as it comes out, and they pre-sell it for a deposit that you could get back. That gives them some extra cash to then throw into their R&D or put into more. And that's exactly what Tesla or other companies, without selling shares, if they get into a hiccup, okay, they could sell some shares, right?
Right.
But at least they get that upfront cash.